Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Mark Boreski. I will be chairing this hearing of the Board of Revision this morning. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. Please note that when you are joining via Zoom, all participants will be placed in the waiting room and your microphone will be muted until the host lets you into the room. You can follow the hearing live via the City's Board of Revision YouTube channel. When your property is called upon, you'll be allowed from the waiting room and permitted to speak with respect to your property. Once you have been heard, you can leave the meeting and continue to watch the hearing live via the YouTube channel. If any participants are currently watching the live meeting on YouTube, please mute your audio player now. With me on the panel today are Bernie McMullen and Randy Vire. Our assessor today is Candace Wright, and our secretary is Belen Rojo. We'll be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the Board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony, followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all of the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the Board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. So thank you, and with that, we will begin the docket today. Item number 1 has been withdrawn. That brings us to item number 2, which is 177 Springwater Road. Ms. Belen, could you include that person in our room at this point then?
Yeah, they're connecting now. Can you hear us? Mr. Dami, can you hear us? We cannot hear you.
Maybe I can hand signal. Are you able to hear us?
Yes.
There you are. Perfect.
Can you hear me?
Good. Yes.
Okay.
That's good. Thank you, Mr. Dami. We will begin with the assessor's brief then with respect to this property. Ms. Wright?
Okay, thank you.
Madam Assessor, please state your full name.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead here.
Sorry, would that be?
Yeah.
We require the swearing in first. I'm sorry. I jumped over that.
That's okay.
Please state your full name.
Candace Wright.
You affirm the event you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Mr. Applicant, please state your full name. Mr. Dami, it's your turn to be sworn in. Would you please state your full name?
Parambir Dami.
And you affirm the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Wright.
Okay, thank you. The subject property is roll number 03092983620. This is a one-story dwelling located in Bridgewater Lakes. It was built in 2019. It is 1,838 square feet, has a finished walkout basement, 3 full bathrooms, 1 standalone shower stall, central air conditioning, 1 fireplace, an attached multiple car garage. The lot size is 5,905 square feet, and it has a retention pond influence. The current 2020 assessment for this property is $795,000, which is $432.54 per square foot. I have 4 comparable properties here that are all one-stories located in Bridgewater Lakes. The year built on these properties ranges from 2014 to 2015. The living area ranges from 1,594 square feet to 1,952 square feet. All have walkout basements with basement finish. Bathroom count ranges from 2.5 to 3.5. All have central air conditioning and fireplaces. Comparable number 1 has 2 fireplaces. The other 3 have 1 fireplace. All have attached multiple car garages. No sunrooms or pools in any of these properties. The lot size for the comparables ranges from 6,338 square feet to 7,663 square feet, and all have a retention pond influence. The sale price for these properties ranges from $703,714 to $830,000. That gives us a time-adjusted sale price range from $782,300 to $888,100, and the time-adjusted sale price per square foot ranges from $431.73 to $503.32. So I believe, based on these comparable properties, that the current assessment for the subject at $795,000 is within this range and is supported by market evidence. Thank you.
Before we open it up to questions, do you mind referring to your map, please? And tell us what that indicates. And I see that there's at least 1 photo.
Yeah, so I did drive past the property on April 22nd, and that's a photo from that day. Sorry, on the map here, there are, on the kind of white spaces behind the properties, there are ponds behind all properties, the subject and the comparables, but they all have parkland or a walkway in between, which is why they aren't actually adjacent to the pond. They just have a retention pond influence. So that was one of the reasons for my selection of these comparables, is I was looking for walkouts that had a retention pond influence. The properties on Springwater, directly adjacent to the subject, were, I believe all the ones I reviewed were post-reference sales. They were all newer construction, so that's why I moved over a little bit to where the properties were a bit older, so there were sales that occurred before that April 1st of 2018 reference date.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Dami, do you have questions with respect to the information that the assessor has presented? We will have your evidence shortly, but this is an opportunity for you to question what she has provided.
So yes. Yeah. Well, good morning. Thank you for the opportunity. So the only thing I have here is the map that's been provided to me. There's not a single house that's in my street that's been used for comparison purposes.
And so the reason for that is we have a reference date of April 1st of 2018. So we need to look at sales that occurred prior to that date. So any of the sales that I could find on your street, most of the houses on your street are newer construction built in 2019. Is that correct? So that's the reasoning is we had to find sales of properties that the sale occurred prior to April 1st of 2018. And on Springwater, most of the properties were constructed later
Sorry,
than that.
I can't hear you properly. Sorry.
Could you try again, Ms. Wright? He's having trouble hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, better.
Okay, sounds good. So we have a reference date for this assessment of April 1st of 2018. So we need to find sales that occurred up to April 1st of 2018. And we can't consider any sales that occurred after that date. So on your street, because they're more recently constructed, any of the sales were occurring after that date. So I needed to find sales that occurred prior to April 1st of 2018, which is why I selected the comparables that I did.
Yeah, hear her.
Do you have other questions, Mr. Dami, about this assessor information?
Yeah, actually, you know what? The audio has been overlapping 2-3 times and keeps repeating from her side. So it's very hard to hear what exactly she's saying.
Let me try it to see if this works better.
Can I try a different source? I'll try it from my phone, maybe. I'm not sure. You can try a different source.
All right.
Okay, I'm just gonna. So I will.
Okay, we can see you from your phone now.
Is this? Hello?
We can see you.
Okay, yeah, this is better.
Okay, we can see you from your phone now.
Okay.
Can you turn off your YouTube, please?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm just closing everything. Is this?
Hello, we can see you.
Okay, yeah, this is better.
We can see you from your phone now.
Okay.
Turn off your YouTube, please.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm just closing everything. Is this?
Hello, we can see you.
Okay, yeah, this is better. Okay.
Well, let's see if this works any better. We were getting feedback, but that seems okay now.
Yeah,
You
I
can
can
hear?
hear clearly everything. Yeah, I can hear.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Well, third time lucky, Ms. Wright. Do you mind explaining?
Well, let's see if this works any better.
Oh, I'm getting my voice repeating.
Yeah, it's the same thing. The audio just keeps repeating. Like I can hear you 2-3 times and it keeps cutting.
Well, third time lucky, Ms. Wright. Let's see if this works any better.
Bellen, if you're not aware of an answer to this, then we might be better off resorting to just the telephone.
No, I think it's his mute. I think he still has a media player on, like a speaker on the YouTube. Like if he turns it off,
Aware of an answer. Did you hear that explanation, Mr. Donnie?
no, I think it's his
No, it's too many. It keeps repeating. I think everybody's talking and then I can't really hear anything. I believe.
I'm trying to email him. Do we want to take a break while we fix this?
Fine with me, certainly. We'll have a short recess while we try to iron out the technical problems. You might. We are live again. All right. In that case, Ms. Wright, would you try one more time, maybe third time lucky, to explain why you did not select sales that were close to Mr. Donnie's property?
Yes, that was good. Thank you. So the reason for selecting these comparables is we have a reference date of April 1st, 2018 for this assessment. So we needed to look at sales that occurred up to that date, but not after. So on your start on Springwater Road, a lot of those houses are more recent construction, I believe 2018, 2019 builds. So those sales occurred after that date. So that was the reason that I selected the comparables I did, is we had to only use sales that occurred prior to April 1st of 2018.
Do you understand that, Mr. Donnie?
Yeah, no, I understand.
Okay. Do you have additional questions?
No, not at this time.
All right. Mr. McMullen, do you have questions of the assessor?
Yes, I'd like to know how much you make adjustments for half bathroom. Go on, comparable number 4.
Comparable number 4. There would be a positive adjustment. It would add value. I don't have an exact number, but typically probably a few $1,000s for a half bathroom would be an appropriate adjustment.
And
Does that answer your question, Mr. McMullen?
How much adjustment, if any, do you make for the difference in lots?
The difference in lot size?
Yeah.
In this case, I did not. I mean, obviously, larger lots would be more valuable. In this case, I assumed they were close enough in size, and there are many factors that are affecting the overall sale price that I didn't make an actual adjustment, but it definitely would, I assume, affect the sale price if there was a substantial difference in lot size. But in this case, the range isn't that large. I know the subject property is slightly smaller. My main consideration for the lot was that it had that retention pond influence, so that it could see the retention. You could see the retention pond from the yard, but it didn't directly back on or wasn't directly adjacent to the pond. So that was my main consideration when looking at the lot for these properties.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Vire, your questions?
Yes, Ms. Wright, have you checked this property yourself?
I drove by the property on April 22nd. That's the photo that's submitted with my evidence. I was not able to inspect the property as due to COVID-19 restrictions. We could not do interior inspections at this time. So I did review the notes from when the assessor originally assessed the property. I'm not sure if there was an inspection done at that time. I think it might have been over the phone as well. So yeah, I did the best I could with driving by the property on April 22nd.
So this will be the first assessment for this property.
This is, yes.
Okay, thank you.
With respect to comparable number 1, Ms. Wright, it has only 1 full bath by comparison with 3 in the subject. It's on a bus route, hydro, transformer, telephone. Can you tell me anything from your drive-by? Do you know anything about the location and what the hydro, transformer, telephone facilities are that are on that property?
I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe it's one of those hydro boxes. Like, I don't believe it's hydro lines. It's one of those boxes located kind of on the edge of the property. But being located on that bus route with light traffic would definitely have a negative effect on value, just because it's on a busier location.
Does the fact that there is only 1 full bathroom have a negative impact on that property?
I mean, for our assessment, we consider a full bathroom with a bathtub, but a bathroom with a shower, we split it up into a half bath with shower. So in this case, I mean, there are those facilities. There is a bathroom with a tub, and then there are 2 bathrooms. There are 2 separate shower stalls. So I don't believe it would have a significant effect on the sale price, because
so bath is quite literal. Like, to be a full bath, you have to have a bathtub. You can't have a walk-in shower. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So on our comparable sheet, a full bathroom is either a single tub or a tub shower combo, and then a 3-piece bathroom we consider half bath with shower. So there's a bit of a difference in, if you look at MLS listings, a 3-piece, they'll say full bathroom, and then we have a half a shower. So it does, that's kind of why when I went over my comparables, I just 2.5 to 3.5 full bathrooms. That's kind of more.
Oh, okay.
MLS.
So maybe it's sort of like a technical listing. Does the market discriminate between those 2 things in any way that you can observe?
Not that I have observed.
Okay. All right. Sure. And is it then the lot size that has more influence in raising the time-adjusted sale price higher by quite a bit than the subject property?
For comparable number 1?
For number 1, yeah. It's a smaller house by a fair bit, but the lot is larger. Is that why it's higher, or are there other things at play here?
Well, the time adjustment is based on the market. It's an internal calculation that was based on how the market changed over those months. So the time adjustment wouldn't really be related to the lot size. It's just the market change over time in general in the area.
You can't really divine out of this what is the influence that drove that price, and consequently the price per square foot then.
Not.
Okay. Is there one of the comparables that you think is most similar to the subject, or not?
I would say they're all fairly similar. I would actually say comparable number 1 would be the least similar, just based on size. It's smaller than all of the other properties, and it has those traffic and bus route influences, whereas the other 3, so number 2 to 4, are more similar to the subject in terms of size and influence.
All right. Okay, those are all my questions. Then we will turn to you, Mr. Domi, for your information. But give us a second here to find your written material. Other panel members, have you found the applicant's brief?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ms. Wright, do you have that?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay. Prior to your going through this, you may have noted, Mr. Dami, in my introduction, I stated that we cannot use assessments to compare to your property. We must use sales. The courts have told us that it is not a valid means of determining the assessment upon appeal by looking at other assessments, because those other assessments might be wrong. So what it has to look to is the sales. Consequently, the appeal information provided to you emphasizes that you look to sales. Do you have any sales information as opposed to this assessment information?
You know what? I wasn't aware, so that's why I went on, right? I went on City's site because I thought that's the best reference that I can have. So that's the only information I have. But just recently, I think just the house adjacent to me, I'll just take one. It was sold for it was on the market for 788 900, and it's 173.
What was the date of that sale, Mr. Dami?
I think just a few months ago it was sold.
Okay. Well, as Ms. Wright explained, we cannot look, and neither can the assessor, at sales after what is called the reference date. Every assessment in each reassessment is done as of a certain date in the past. And nothing is to be looked at after that date. It must be representative of the sale value on that date. So it's the sales that lead up to that time that are to be looked at, not the ones thereafter.
So this is a new development. So how one compares then at that point your property to your on the same street? If it's
okay, Ms. Wright, do you mind if I get you to answer that question for him?
Sure. So it is kind of a unique situation with new construction because often streets are built, all the houses are built around the same time. So when you have new construction, like for example, your house, it's built in 2019. So that's after our current reference date. But then in a few years, for example, for the next reassessment, that reference date will move up. So we'll actually look at more recent sales. So at that point, properties on your street may have sold, and we could consider them because we'll be considering more recent sales for the next reassessment. So every time we reassess, we do consider newer sales. It's just, it is kind of unique when you have a new house because properties that are most similar around the same age, we can't consider those sales if they occurred after that reference date. So that's when, for example, my comparables, that's why I just moved over slightly to a street kind of adjacent that's fairly similar because those houses were a bit older and had sales that I could use before that date.
So I understand that we cannot use the information on City of Winnipeg assessment values, but if when I look at all the numbers, the one that I provided, there's quite a bit. It's a huge difference. I mean, is there a standard formula that doesn't matter who the assessor is? There's one formula that they use, and based on that formula, we'll end up very close to the same number. Doesn't matter who the person is. But when I look at these numbers, I mean, these are way off when I compare mine. So I'm kind of, questioning. Okay, like, is it like a random number they're picking, or where these numbers are coming from?
No, it is based on information about your property. The information that's provided on the website, so like the information that you've provided today, is just kind of a basic overview. We actually go more in depth in the office internally. So things like basement types. For example, your house has a walkout basement. If you notice on the website, it just says yes or no for basement. So if it's a regular full basement that's not a walkout, that would have less value than a walkout. Things like if the basement's finished or not would have an effect on the value. So there are all those considerations to make that would affect the value. as well as just the age and size and lot size and those basic things that it shows on the website.
Yeah, no, I understand. I was just comparing my street and then when I look at that, most of the single-story houses, when I compare to mine, mine is way overvaluated. It's not even a small amount; it's significant amount. And even if we look at square footage, right, the square footage is way higher than mine on all those properties that I sent. Even if we go by square footage, and a lot of these are just built in the last 2-3 years and by the same builders. Same, I understand you're saying the basement is not finished or not, even if I know mine is finished. Some of the things that I sent, they are not finished. But again, the price difference is huge.
I think perhaps, given that you don't have sales information, Mr. Dami, and are pointing to assessments of other properties, that is not something that we can pay any attention to. I mean, just that the courts have said we can't. So I think my suggestion would be, rather than prolonging the discussion in this hearing, perhaps you and Ms. Wright can have a conversation about the property and its characteristics outside of this hearing. And that way, perhaps we can carry on here with the things that we can deal with, and you can have some further discussion.
So I know you were saying that because they used 2018 and we can't use anything after that in terms of evaluation. Even if I have current, market evaluation, how can that affect the 2018 evaluation, the benchmark that they used?
Well, any sale that was after April 1st, 2018 cannot be used to measure the assessment that the assessors have done, because it has to be as of that date. You can't use those sales until the next reassessment, at which point the reference date will have moved up in time, and then those would become legitimate sales to use.
Okay. See, that's the thing. The whole street is only 2-3 years old, so I won't have any numbers because
that makes it a circumstance where it's difficult to prove the value relative to sales. The sales have to be bought prior to April 1st, so consequently, the assessor goes a little bit farther away, a little bit older properties, in order to come up with some comparables.
Okay. Yeah, well, I think in that case, I can't have any data, right? Even if I produce it, nothing can be done because everything is after 2018.
Right.
In this area. So I'm not sure, I guess, at this point, then what can be done, even if I go outside the area. I was just comparing my street, that's all. And when I look at these numbers, and I said, these are way too higher than what I have, but I understand that can be used because these are not admissible, like you said, by courts, these numbers. Right.
Well, we'll watch for you the next go round.
Okay. So you're saying I can speak with Ms. Wright about these numbers and...
Ms. Wright?
Yeah, if you like, I have your information here. I can give you a call or email you and set up something if you'd like to have a conversation about that.
Please.
Sure.
All right.
Thank you.
Then I will draw this one to a close. Thank you very much. And we will move on to our next item on the docket.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Next on our docket is 68 Willowbrook Road.
Can you hear me now?
There you are.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Miracle. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Right.
I apologize for what's going on. Yeah. I made the mistake. Yeah. So right now I'm on computer. Can everybody hear me clearly?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Yeah, just apologize. I was in the office, in your city's office this morning. Yeah, so.
Okay, fine.
Okay, let's get to the point. Let's get to the point directly.
Certainly. Excuse me a second, though. Do you mind tell me the pronunciation of your name so I don't get it incorrect? Your name?
What? I think there's a problem with my audio.
Oh no. Are you hearing me now?
Okay. Sorry about that. So that's perfect. Let's get to the point.
Yeah.
Just don't want to waste your time here.
Right. So, Ms. Rojo, could you swear in the applicant, please?
Mr. Applicant, will you please state your full name?
My full name is Haozhang Jia. First name Haozhang, Haozhang. Last name Jia.
And do you affirm the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. The way the process will work, Mr. Jia, is that the assessor will present her information first, and then you will have an opportunity to ask her questions about that information. That's not your presentation. It's just you asking questions if there's something you need clarified. We will also ask some questions of the assessor, and then it'll be your turn to make your statement. So, okay. Ms. Wright, could we begin with your information?
Thank you. The subject property is roll number 03092983210. The street address is 68 Willowbrook Road. This is a one-story house located in Bridgewater Lakes, built in 2020. The living area is 1,882 square feet. There is a finished walkout basement, 2 full bathrooms, 1 half bathroom with a standalone shower. There is central air conditioning with no fireplace and an attached multiple car garage. The lot size is 7,274 square feet, and it's located on an external corner. The 2020 assessment for this property is $769,000, which works out to $408.61 per square foot. The subject property did sell post-reference in February of 2019. I have 4 comparable properties here that are all one-stories located in Bridgewater Forest. The year built ranges from 2011 to 2016. The living area ranges from 1,561 square feet to 2,058 square feet. All have walkout basements. Comparable number 1 has an unfinished walkout basement, so there would be an adjustment required for that. The other 3 comparables have finished basements. The bathroom count ranges from 2 to 3. All have central air conditioning. Comparables 1, 2, and 3 have fireplaces, and comparable 4 does not. All have attached multiple car garages and no sunrooms or pools in any of these properties. The lot size ranges from 6,084 square feet to 6,583 square feet. Comparables 1 and 4 have a park influence, so they back onto a park space. The sale price for these properties ranges from $626,500 to $820,000. Time adjusted sale price ranges from $668,500 to $843,000, which gives us a time adjusted sale price per square foot range from $370.77 to $428.25. So based on these comparable properties, I feel that the subject assessment of $769,000 is within the range and supported by market evidence. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Jia, do you have questions for the assessor about this information?
I have to say sorry first. Because of the environment I'm in, the audio quality is really not good as what I have in my home. So I just something was blurring, and I didn't hear clearly. But my question to the assessor is, I heard that you mentioned about the bathroom number in my house is 2. When you see When you see two full baths, half baths, you're talking about the main. I think this information is not correct. I only have two baths on my main level. I don't have half baths at all, and also, the square footage from my builder. The latest one is 1870. It's not 1882 as shown on the assessment web page. So there's some discrepancy from the information you have and what I have. I don't think builder is gonna build a bigger house than I asked for. That's my understanding. Every inch I ask them, they're gonna ask for more money. So that never happened. And I don't even know how to measure that. They actually built a bigger house than I wanted, than I paid. So first of all, I think the 1882 square footage is not correct. I have a smaller house. Second one, I only have two full baths. The first full bath is a tub and shower for kids. A second bath for us is just a shower. There's no tub. So basically, you don't call it full bath. You call it a 4-piece bath. So I wouldn't say I have like 2+. I don't have a half bath at all in my main level. So that's information I think we got a little bit disconnected. So I want you to verify that, please. Second thing is the square footage of the front waterfront measurement. So all the information, cause I don't have any other source of information for the lot. This is everything from builder. So based on the site plan I sent to you, it's measured at 60 feet, not 61. So that's all the information I got from the beginning to the end. So it might be different from a city, but that's all I know. That's all I can present to you as an official document. So that's the question I have. Maybe you are right, or maybe builder's right. But in this case, I'm paying more for what I have, based on the physical square footage. So I don't even know they actually built 1870. But people tell me they always build smaller, but I can't verify. I never measure that. I just move in, right? So I have 2 kids. So we have to move in the middle of COVID-19 last year on April. So I don't have time to measure everything. So I just move in quickly to make sure everybody's safe and healthy. So that's basically the information what I heard from you, because other information was cutting out because my audio really not good. I'm sorry about that. So that's what I can at the moment I can tell you. Yeah.
Okay. Then Ms. Wright, do you have a response to that?
Yeah, so I can address the discrepancy in the living area. The note from the assessor who assessed the property originally was that the permit plans did not include a cantilever, which he made a note that worked out to roughly 12 square feet. So that's the reason for that discrepancy, is that there's a cantilever, I believe it's at the back of the house, that was not a cantilever at the back of the house that was not included. It was on the permit plans, but not included in the living area listed on the permit. And we do include that area. So that's
you're talking about that window kind of like standing out a little bit?
It may be that.
Oh, that actually, originally we have 1850 square footage. That, including that, is 1870. So the original plan was 1850. During the building, I feel like the main bath, main master room a little bit smaller. So we decided to actually put that window a little bit out. That is actually less than 10 square footage. So at the side, if you look at my plan, the left side, in the middle of the house, there's a bathroom for main bath, also standing out a little bit, half feet something, including this 2 part is a 20 footage. That's how we add up 1870. So there's no actual at all. So originally, if you cut down the three corner, it's actually 1850 less. So they are just trying to make it a little bit bigger. So that's 1870. So I don't think it's more than 1870.
Okay,
That have to be measured. That have to be measured. Yeah. Like I said, I don't think builder gonna give me more, and without asking a cent from me.
That discrepancy there. Then, do you have any other questions?
So now it's my time to talk, or I have to wait?
No. Just do you have any further questions about the assessor's information?
Too bad I didn't hear everything, but I would say no at the moment.
All right. Then, Mr. McMullen, do you have questions of the assessor?
Yes. How much adjustment do you make for fireplaces?
I mean, a fireplace would add value. I don't have an exact number, but a fireplace would add a relatively small amount of value in the range of a few $1,000s.
Oh, I don't have a gas fireplace at all in the house.
Yeah, we have you as having no fireplace.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's good. That's correct. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. How much adjustment do you make in a corner lot?
I don't have an exact number. I believe it would typically, it's based on market evidence. It would typically be a small negative adjustment. It would typically reduce the value slightly.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Vire.
Yes, obviously, have you been to this property, Ms. Wright?
This one I drove by as well on April 22nd. I did submit a photo of the exterior with my evidence. And again, just because of current restrictions, it was not possible to inspect the property. So I just did that exterior drive-by inspection.
Is there any adjustment on the half baths compared to full baths?
Yeah, I would say I only have 2 full baths. I don't have any half baths. Yeah. So 1 bathroom for my baby and 1 bathroom for me and my wife. That's all.
Okay, so in your property in total, and that's including the basement, correct? There's just 2 bathrooms, 1 with a tub, 1 with a shower?
Pardon?
So in your property in total, including the basement as well, there are just 2 bathrooms, 1 with a tub, 1 with a shower. Is that what I'm understanding?
No. Basement. Are we talking about basement too? Are we also including the basement square footage as well? But I don't see that included in our assessment. That should be irrelevant.
Not the square footage, but the bathrooms in the basement are included.
Yeah, there is 1 bathroom. Yeah, okay. Of course, for my parent. Yeah.
Okay.
There's the top shower. Yeah.
Okay.
3-piece.
There is.
Mr. Vire, do you have additional questions?
So that's about right then, Ms. Wright, that the applicant property has 2 full baths and a half bath in the basement.
Oh, in this case, if we include in basement, I would say that's correct. Yeah.
Mr. D, I'm asking the question to Ms. Wright, please.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yes, so I believe based on what the applicant has provided, that the information on the comparable sales report is correct, that there are, in total in the house, there are 2 full bathrooms, 1 half bathroom, and 1 shower. That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
I'm referring to your map, Ms. Wright.
Yes.
The subject is a fair bit west of your comparables. Can you explain why there are no comparables adjacent to the subject property?
So in this case, the main consideration I made that I felt would affect the market value was that this property has a walkout basement, but it's not located on the pond. So that's how I started my search for comparables. Is typically walkout basements are located on the pond, either directly adjacent or have a view of the pond. So this was a bit unique. Well, not unique, but there are less properties with a walkout not on a pond. So that's kind of where I started my search, and that's the main reason I went with these 4 properties. Now they are located, it is considered a different neighborhood. The subject is Bridgewater Lakes, and the 4 comparables are Bridgewater Forest. But as you can see on the map, it is fairly close. So I felt that having a walkout not on a pond was a bigger consideration than just moving over slightly to an adjacent neighborhood.
And there are no other adjacent properties that are off a pond and have a walkout property close to the subject then. Is that correct?
And not within sales dates. And I can't exactly recall, but it may have been an issue as well because the subject property was built in 2020. Adjacent properties that may have walkouts on ponds may also be really recent construction that hadn't sold prior to April 1st of 2018.
Okay. All right, that's my questions. Mr. Jha, could we have your information, please?
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Okay. So, first of all, I want to thank you for your time. And first, when it's my first time to be here, I don't know the procedure. Maybe if I'm wrong, please just excuse me.
Really?
So basically, I wonder if you have received information, a scanned copy from say the clerk sent to you. That's what I want to present with you. I wonder if you have it at your hand. Otherwise, I can just read for you. So on the first page was my site plan. Like
one moment, please. You're referring to the site plan. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. The page 1 is my site plan. It's mentioned about 60
And
inch.
the members of the panel, do you have that site plan open?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Carry on.
Thank you. The page 1 is the site plan. I have highlighted my main level square footage and the front measurement from builder. That's the only official information I have. So on the page 2, if you can see that that's the assessment for my property 68 Willowbrook Road. So like I mentioned that I think the living area is 1870 square footage, not 1882. And also I pointed out that there are discrepancy between the water and sewer frontage measurement. So I wonder if you can consider that also. So here, the assessor also mentioned that how she come up with the number, but I have a direct comparison, which is very related. I want to present to you. If you go to page number 4, please, it's for the number Willowbrook Road on the same road. So I'm at the east end of Willowbrook Road, and the number for at the west end. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Jha, but this appears to me to be a map of assessments. And
the next page, please. Yeah, if you go next.
And then you have some pages that include map and some other information, and that is all current assessments. Is that correct?
Current assessment. I just printed from website.
Then what I would do is, in order to actually shorten this up, to inform you that we cannot use this information. When you were sent information about appeals, it did stress that you should be providing sales information, not assessments. The courts have said that in order to verify your assessment, we are not to look at other assessments, because if you're saying yours is wrong, well, those other ones might be wrong as well. The only definitive thing is the market, the sales that actually occurred prior to the reference date. Those are the things that we must look at, and we must be blind to what the other assessments are.
Well, first of all, my house is finished and moving on 2020 last year. So if you look at the house on the same street, they are all less than 2 years. So if I would look for a sales house, I would first of all, I don't have sales information. I don't know how to get access to information for this information. I'm not I don't have the I don't have resources. Yeah.
Excuse me, but the way to obtain that was described in the information sent to you about your appeal.
But,
There is a listing of sales that is available to you to look at.
On my paper, no, there's nothing. All the letter I have here, I don't have any other information. I only have a letter to tell me to come to the meeting on the date. That's all I have. That's all I have. So that's why I'm saying I don't know what to do to come here. So, but all I can get is I can tell you what's going on in my neighbor, number 4. We are built by the same builder. We almost signed contract at the same time, but almost similar lot. And their assessment is 651. My assessment is 769. That's 120K difference. Yes.
Mr. Jha, we cannot look at the assessments.
Why? Why his is correct and
as I
mine is
explained
wrong?
to you, we cannot look to the assessments because the courts have said that is not a valid way of determining the market value. The market is sales, not assessment.
No. But your assessment is not equal to market value. Are you?
Well, it's.
Let's put it this way: the market value is if market value go up,
Mr. Jha,
our assessment never go down. Yeah, sorry, I'm listening.
You must listen to me and not interrupt.
Sorry.
I will cut this hearing short.
Sorry, go ahead, please.
So, here, I'm going to explain to you. The courts have said it is invalid for the Board of Revision or the municipal board to look at assessments as a way of proving whether a certain assessment is correct. The courts have said that very definitively. They said that some 15 years ago, and we have followed suit ever since. So when somebody presents the other assessments on their neighborhood, for instance, that is just something that we have to tell them we cannot look at. You must look to sales in order to verify your assessment. Now, I have seen information that goes to applicants upon appeal, and it does emphasize that. Also, the city assessor's website stresses that as well. You can talk to Ms. Wright about how specifically to find that if you're having any further trouble, but I'm sorry, we cannot look to the assessments. If you can provide some other information to us about the characteristics of your property where the assessment information provided by the assessor is incorrect, we can certainly look to that. You've talked about the square footage, that sort of thing. We can listen to that sort of thing and determine whether we want to make an adjustment on the basis of that or not. But it's the assessments that we cannot look at. So if you have further information, we would love to hear that. Do you have any? Mr.
So what information you need? What information you need? Just the sales information?
Yes. Sales.
Like how many years?
Well, sales of comparable properties that have happened leading up to April 1st, 2018. That is called the reference date, and all assessments are pegged at
2018.
Yes, April 1st, 2018. All the assessments are pegged on that date. Consequently, it's the sales that lead up to that date that must be looked at to determine what the value would have been on April 1st.
Well, if we go back to April 21st, I haven't signed contract with I haven't started sign contract with this builder yet. So, but if you look at what I paid for this house on April 20 before that, on October the contract price I signed on October 2018. So that's way less than what we have now.
Yeah. Well, that too we can't look to because it was after April 1st.
Yeah, this after April. Yeah, definitely after April 1st. Yeah.
Right. So do you have any other information that you want to present to us?
yeah, let's put it this way. I don't have other information because I don't have any. I don't get the direction from the office at all. And I was direct to the city office this morning, and wasted me too much time, and I'm not prepared at all. I'm stuck in a small house in downtown, which is not my home, and I have very bad reception to my hearing. So anyway, basically, I'm not clear how the assessment was done, but the difference between two similar houses and their bigger house have 120K difference. That is huge. That is more than 30% of my value of my house. I don't understand.
Then
So I want to know why.
In order to better understand the process the assessor goes through, I would suggest that you have a side conversation with the assessor.
I want to, yes, please.
Outside of this hearing, and that's certainly valid and something that can be done at any time. Ms. Wright, do you have any questions of the applicant?
Not at this time, no.
Okay, Mr. McMullen, do you have any questions?
No.
Mr. Vire?
Yeah, I have a question. So, Mr. Jha, you think the living area of your house is, when you talk to the builder, it's 1,870 square feet as opposed to 1,882?
My contract shows 1850. So that's what we signed for. So during the design, and we feel that it's a little bit smaller in the master bathroom. Master bedroom and the master bath. And the main bath for baby. So they are saying, okay, we can play, because their stated code that you need to have 4 feet minimum from between you and your neighbor, right? 4 feet. That's what I heard. That's the minimum code. So, but they can't play around too many. But in the back, they're saying, because in your back, I can move the window like standing out from the main floor a little bit, make it a few little bit bigger. So eventually we revised everything, come to 1870. So that's the final footage from me.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jha.
Yeah, thank you.
And I have no questions, so that will then conclude our hearing. Thank you, thank you very much, Mr. Jha. We will be providing an answer to you by way of an order as soon as we can. That will come to you, and if you are not satisfied with that, then you do have the opportunity to go to the municipal board, and information about that process will be provided to you as well. So thank you very much.
So how do I make the conversation with Miss
Wright?
Miss Wright, sorry, yeah.
I have your contact information here on your appeal application, so I can send you an email and maybe just set up a time that works well for us to just go over things on a phone call.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye. That will move us to item number 4, which is 139 Tuxedo Avenue, Unit 408.
Sorry, they're not in the waiting room anymore. Would you like to move to item 5?
Certainly, we'll move along to item 5 then. And that one is 117 Borbank Street.
17.
117, sorry, 117 Borbank Street.
117, yeah, you're right.
117. I assume that is Ms. Robson. I think you are muted. There you are.
Yeah, I won't take too long, actually. I'll get you guys back on schedule.
Thank you.
I don't have much. Go ahead.
Could we have the swearing in, please, Ms. Rojo?
Madam applicant, will you please state your full name?
Susan Breslaw Robson.
You affirm the evidence you about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, we will begin with the assessor's information.
Sounds good. Thank you. The subject property is roll number 120607070000. The street address is 117 Moorbank Street. This property is located in the Wellington Crescent neighborhood. It is a one-story side-by-side type property with 2 dwelling units. It was built in 1930 with an effective year built of 1955. The total living area is 1,200 square feet. It has a full basement with basement finish, 2 full bathrooms, 2 half bathrooms with 2 standalone shower stalls, no central air, no fireplace, and no garage. The lot size is 5,999 square feet, and the current 2020 assessment is $396,000, which is $330 per square foot. This property was sold post-reference in June of 2020. Now this is a type of property that doesn't have many comparables that are 2 dwelling units with the side-by-side style. We do consider it different than the more common up-down duplex. So I decided to choose comparables. The first 3 are that up-down style duplex that are a bit closer to the subject property. And then I selected comparable number 4, which is located over in Riverview, which is a different neighborhood, but it is a bi-level side-by-side style. So I thought I would include it just because it's more similar type of property, since there aren't many comparables of this type. Now, the areas of these properties ranges from 930 square feet, so that's the one that's more similar over in Riverview. And then the largest duplex is 2,028 square feet. The year built of these properties ranges from 1947 to 1988. Effective year built ranges from 1953 to 1988. All have full basements with basement finish, except for comparable number 2, which has an unfinished basement. The bathroom count of the comparables ranges from 2 to 4. Number 3 has 4 bathrooms. Comparables 2, 3, and 4 have central air. Number 1 does not. There are no fireplaces in any of these properties. And comparables 1, 2, and 3 have multiple car detached garages. Comparable 4 does not. The lot size for these properties ranges from 2,466 square feet to 7,200 square feet. The sale prices range from $280,000 to $425,000, and that gives us a time-adjusted sale price of $289,000 to $448,400. So, as I said, this is a type of property that there aren't that many comparables that are really similar. But I do feel that looking at the overall sale price, the assessment is reasonable and likely within 5% of market value based on these sales. With my evidence, I have included a map to show where these properties are located. So you can see comparables 1 and 2 are fairly close to the subject property. 3 and 4 are a little bit further out. I did include an exterior photo from April 22nd when I drove by the property. And I also included, just for some information, when the sale occurred, I believe it was a private sale, so we sent out a questionnaire that was returned by the owners. I did remove the sale price because it was post-reference, so it really couldn't be considered for this assessment, but it just gives some information that they provided about this property. And I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Robson, do you have questions about this information?
No, how can you question someone that's doing their job, I suppose. My only comment would be, I think it's assessed too high, clearly. So I think that there's, go ahead.
We'll wait your justification for that then in your presentation. Mr. McMullen, do you have questions?
Could you not find better comparables?
As I said, this is a fairly rare type of property. So my strategy was to choose properties with 2 dwelling units. So that's why I went with those 2-story duplexes. I realize it's a totally different building size, but that just having 2 units in a building close to that neighborhood is what I was looking for. have these one-story side-by-side type properties really aren't that common, and especially in this neighborhood, there aren't that many of them at all, and aren't that many that sell that often. So this was the best I could find with my research.
Additional questions, Mr. McMillan? Pardon me? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Not at this moment.
Mr. Vire, questions?
Not at this moment, Ms. Wright. Thank you.
With respect to where these are located, is there a substantial difference in how the market might view comparable 3 or 4 relative to the subject 1 and 2, which are all closer together there? Is there anything about those locations that would make a difference in the market?
Yeah, I would. I don't have an exact adjustment or anything, but I would say that comparable 4 over at Riverview, it is a different neighborhood. I would say likely properties in that neighborhood would likely sell for a bit less, but like I said, that's just kind of based on a judgment of the neighborhood that it is more different. Comparable 3, it is further away, but it is still considered that Wellington Crescent neighborhood, because that neighborhood it kind of runs the length of properties that are along Wellington Crescent. So I don't think that one would be too different. It is further, but it's still kind of considered that same neighborhood.
All right. Ms. Robson, we have your information.
Sure. I guess I have a bunch of questions that'll sort of wrap into this. My understanding is that I guess I don't understand how something can go from like over $90,000 in 1 year. I was under the impression that, sort of 2%-ish is sort of the norm. The property hasn't been touched in, I don't know how many years, probably since it was initially built. It was bought by a few people just as a small revenue property, and it's, in the hopes that there wasn't going to be anything really done to the area, just to sort of maintain the integrity of it. It's close to some commercial properties that are on the corner. I wouldn't say I guess it's close to Wellington, but on that street, the houses are much smaller. So you can't really equate it, to the costs that's happening on Wellington. There was a bit of a, believe it or not, although it was privately sold, there was a bidding war. So in actuality, we feel the property should have been in around the 349 range. But everyone's so desperate these days, I guess, to get a house that that's what they're selling for. Can't really think of anything else.
Okay. Ms. Wright, do you have questions?
Is this a rental property? I believe so, correct?
Yeah, it was when they bought it. There were 2 people in it. It still is, and they do, the upkeep. Obviously, it's just in this time that we're all going through, it was an opportunity to augment, everyone's income in a sense. So,
thank you.
Mr. McMillan, do you have questions?
Yes, but I have a question to the assessor.
Well, let's get to that maybe after we have the questions of the applicant here. Do you have any for the applicant? Mr. Vire?
Yes, Ms. Robson, how long do you own this property now?
They bought it in, I think it was March, and you'll have to forgive me in that I'm the wife of one of the owners, and I'm often
this year or last year?
No, in 2020.
And do you have any idea how much your husband paid for it? Or
yeah, they bought it for $425.
I should point out that given that it's in March of 20, it is post-reference, and we can't pay attention to that value.
Okay. All right.
Do you have other questions, Mr. Vire?
Yes. Did they have any more renovations after you bought the property?
No, just main upkeep. I think that there was maybe a plumbing issue. They fixed a toilet. Really, that's it. They've done nothing. And I don't believe that the owner prior to that did anything other than obviously to maintain it for the renters.
Okay. No further question. Thank you.
Okay. And I have no questions, so thank you very much. Any need to summarize here at all?
Can I ask one more question too?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I skipped over. Yes, Mr. McMullen, you had a question for the assessor?
Yeah. Could you explain how you make the adjustments from an affected year bill from 1955, 1987, or comparable number one?
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding your question. What is it again?
How the assessor makes her adjustment from an affected year bill. Sudbury property, it was affected of 1955. Comparable number one is 1987. I'd like to understand how do you arrive with your adjustment?
So I don't have an exact number on an adjustment that would be required for that. I mean, obviously, to start with, the properties were built at a different time. The subject was built in 1930. The comparable number one was built in 1947. And then the effective year built is a calculation we do just based on renovations when things have been updated. So, I mean, that comparable number one has obviously been renovated with an effective year built of 1987 and typically would have a higher market value with the amount of renovation that has been done. So like I said, I don't have an exact number for that. That would affect the market value. In this case, I mean, I agree that having an effective year built that different isn't the best, but in this case, with a lack of properties that are similar to the subject, I mainly focused on finding properties that had 2 dwelling units in a similar neighborhood.
Okay, thank you. All right. Well, in that case, this would conclude this hearing. Ms. Robson, we will be making a decision and then providing it to you as quickly as we can by way of an order. Thank you very much for attending today and having patience and waiting through up to this point.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bellen, do we have item number 4 in the waiting room?
No, but he is trying to connect. Can we have a recess to help?
Certainly. All right, we will recess until we can make that connection.
Good.
So are you a hockey fan?
Yeah.
All right, so we are live and we will then resume and we will begin by having the secretary swear in the applicant, Mr. Hall.
Mr. Applicant, please state your full name.
Wesley Hugh Ho.
You affirm that you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, yes.
All right, then we will begin with the assessor's information. Ms. Wright, could you walk us through this one, please?
Sure, thank you. The subject roll number is 1209-7808-230. The street address is 139 Tuxedo Avenue, and this property is Unit 408. This is an apartment-style condo located in Old Tuxedo. The building was constructed in 2019. This unit is on the 4th floor, and it's contained on 1 level. The living area is 942 square feet. We have it listed as a 1-bedroom unit. I will note that the MLS listing said 1 bedroom plus den, possibly a 2nd bedroom, but for our assessment, we considered it a 1-bedroom unit. There's 1.5 baths. There is central air conditioning, a balcony, And the 2020 assessment for this property is $356,000, which is $377.92 per square foot. The property did sell post-reference in September of 2020. For comparable properties, there are really no apartment style condos, especially no condos that are this new and old tuxedo. So I did move to different neighborhoods. I selected all apartment style condos. The neighborhoods are Wellington Crescent, Crescentwood, and McMillan. The year built on these units ranges from 2007 to 2015. The size of these units ranges from 775 square feet to 1,387 square feet. Comparable number 1 has 1 bedroom and the other 3 properties have 2 bedrooms. All properties have 1 or 2 bathrooms, all have central air. Comparable number 1 has a fireplace. They all have either a deck, patio, or balcony. The sale prices for these properties ranges from $280,900 to $404,000, which gives us a sale price per square foot ranging from $288.32 to $362.45. I did leave out a time adjustment for condos because we were seeing that the condo market was fairly flat, so I just chose to remove that or to not include a time adjustment. So I just used the actual sale prices for these properties. So I do believe that based on this evidence, there really aren't any comparable properties in the exact neighborhood. This unit is newer than these properties. So I do feel that the current assessment of $356,000 is within the range of these comparables and is supported by market evidence. Now in my evidence, I did include a map. So like I said, there really are no newer condo complexes in Old Tuxedo. So I did move over more to those other neighborhoods, but still in the same general area of the city. I have included some listing photos of the subject properties. So this is from the 2020 MLS listing, just to give an idea of what the subject unit looks like. And I did, since the comparables are in different neighborhoods and a bit older properties, just for reference, I included exterior photos of each condo building. And these were also from MLS listings, just to provide a little extra information about those. Thank you.
Mr. Hull, do you have questions of the assessor about that information that she has presented?
I couldn't hear it that closely, but I don't have any questions. I really, I just think this is a unique price and a unique property, and it's close to my sister's.
Okay, in that case, we'll wait for your evidence for a few minutes. This is just the opportunity to ask questions about that.
I don't have any questions. No,
All right. Then, Mr. McMullen, do you have questions of the assessor?
Yes. First question is location adjustment from subject property to comparable 3 and 4. Do you make any adjustment for location?
Again, I don't have an exact number. The Old Tuxedo area is a fairly nice neighborhood. So, I mean, it's difficult when you're comparing a condo in one area of the city to another, and I recognize that. I did my best with staying to the same general area of the city, like I said. So, no, I don't have a location adjustment. I just did my best to find the closest condos that were somewhat newer and most similar to the subject property.
I know your comparable 1 has a back lane. Do you make an adjustment for a back lane for the view?
I believe there is a small negative adjustment for a back lane. I believe so.
I have a question.
Well, you'll have your questions in just a moment, sir. We'll finish.
Okay.
We'll finish with the panel members first.
Okay.
how much adjustment do you make for a 2-bedroom to a 1-bedroom?
That, again, I don't have an exact number. It would, I believe, affect the market value. 2 bedrooms would likely add value. As I said with the subject, and maybe Mr. Hull can explain a bit more, that this property, we decided to assess it as a 1-bedroom unit, but it was listed as a 1-bedroom with den that was referred to as a possible 2nd bedroom. So I mean, this one is, I shouldn't say in the middle, but it's, I wouldn't say based on that listing information, a true only 1-bedroom unit. It looks like there's some flexibility with the layout of the unit. So yeah, it's difficult to come up with an adjustment number for that number of bedrooms.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Vire, questions?
Yes, Ms. Wright, do you know the 2018 assessment roll for this property?
This one was actually constructed in 2019, so this was the first assessment.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you. No further questions.
Thank you.
Just, looking at your map and the locations of your comparable properties, as you've noted, they are farther away. There was nothing farther south in Old Tuxedo that would have been a comparable type of property. Is that because they are only rentals and not condos, or what?
I'm not sure specifically. I can't remember. I mean, I did search in the area for similar condos, and I did try to stick to, since it is a newly built unit. I mean, the oldest comparable I have is 2007, so that was another one of my criteria, was finding newer condos.
Okay.
So I can't say specifically why I didn't include maybe further south, but that may have been one of the reasons.
Okay, good. That helps. That's all my questions. So, Mr. Hull, you had a question for the assessor?
Well, the only thing is she keeps referring to it as Old Tuxedo. It is true that it's an Old Tuxedo, but there's a building very close to it, a high-rise apartment building, and it's on the street here, Tuxedo Avenue, which isn't really Old Tuxedo. It's just a highway that goes to Charleswood. So it's not really that type of property in Old Tuxedo as such.
All right, thank you. So
that's basically all I had to say. And the bedroom and a half, there's a little den in it.
Let me interrupt you for just a second. If you don't have any other questions for the assessor, then we would turn to you for your information, and then everybody will potentially have questions for you. So if you could proceed with what you have as evidence for us.
Sure. I moved from Parksville, British Columbia to Winnipeg. After I'd lived there for 7 or 8 years, I thought after spending some time at my son's cottage that I would try assisted living at the Wellington on Grant Avenue. Unfortunately, this did not work out for me. So I purchased a condo with the money I received from the sale of my property in Parksville, plus a little more. Also, the property was close to my son's place as well as my sister. And since I came back to Winnipeg only to be with my family. I'm 86 years old, and this was a piece of property I looked at, and it was close to where my sister lives. She lives in River Heights, and my son also lives in River Heights, so I bought the property. I didn't even look around, and maybe I paid too much for it, I don't know. But anyway, I bought it, and it was a small bedroom, 1-bedroom place, 940 square feet. I paid too much for it, as I say. I paid $395 plus your land tax, which has brought it to over $400,000. My taxes at the Parksville property, and it was a nicer apartment, a nicer building. It was the nicest building in Parksville.
Mr. Hull, excuse me, but we don't entertain any discussion about taxes. It's strictly the assessment that we are obligated to look at, and we are required to not pay any attention to taxes. So to that extent.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Pardon me?
I thought maybe that's what I came in for. But anyway, what do you want me?
We cannot adjust taxes. There's no point in our listening to arguments about whether taxes are too high or too low.
Yeah. Anyway, I paid paid $1,000 out in Parksville my taxes, and here I estimate they'll be over 5,000. So it just kind of bothered me a bit.
Do you have any sales information? Did you look at properties that sold to compare to the value that is on your property as an assessment?
No, I haven't. But the other buildings sell for around here. The one in Tuxedo on Tuxedo Boulevard or whatever it is. I guess it's on. It's one street over. They sell in the neighborhood of $275 in there. Condos. And
do you know the characteristics of those properties that are selling at $275?
Other than the fact that they advertise 2 bedrooms and a bathroom and a half, or 2 bathrooms, and very much like my own, except they're a little bigger. In order to have 2 bathrooms and 2 bedrooms, you need at least 1,000 square feet, and mine is 940.
Okay. Do you have any information about the physical characteristics of your property, or about sales that you can give us?
Well, first of all, I don't know of any places that have sold in this building right now. I just moved in here last October the 1st, and I don't even have my tax bill yet. I'm just estimating that they'll be over 5,000 because I paid you $1,475 for first 3 months, or the last 3 months I was here. So I multiplied that times 4, and that came out to too much. So anyway, that's okay. Why I'm complaining.
All right. Well, then I'll turn to the assessor to see if she has any questions for you. Ms. Wright?
Sure. Okay.
I don't think I have any questions at this time. Thank you.
All right. Mr. McMullen, do you have any questions of Mr. Hull?
No.
Mr. V-Ray?
No, at this point. Thank you.
Okay, and nor do I have any questions. So I would just thank you for appearing. My apologies for the difficulty in getting you connected this morning, but thankfully we eventually did. We will be deciding upon the assessment for your property and sending out an order by mail, and you will receive that as soon as we can get that accomplished.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye now.
All right. Well, that concludes the public portion of our hearing today. We will now deliberate and make our decisions. Are we? Is everybody? Is Mr. Hull off the line, Belen?
Yes, but we have to go offline as well.
Hey, I just want to say to Candace, you might have some long conversations coming up as a result of my suggestion that
I suspect I might, yeah.
Yeah, some of this be done outside of the hearing. I just think that it's more along the line of general education than something that we should be spending time at in the hearing. Consequently, I suggested this. So thank you very much for your gracious agreement to do so.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Are we all done then?
We are done.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.